Hey, welcome to this video by Creating a Family. I'm Dawn Davenport. I'm the director of Creating a Family, and today we're going to be talking about adopting out of birth order. First, though, I'd like to refer you to an hour-long radio show we did on this topic, where we of course, went into a great deal more depth. That radio show was on March 10th, 2010, and you can access it at the radio page of our website, creatingafamily.org. When we talk about adopting out of birth order, we're really talking about adopting out of the order of the family, because it truly doesn't matter, of course, whether the kids have joined your family through birth or adoption. And this practice has almost universally, at least in the past, been discouraged by adoption professionals. But what's interesting to me is that there's been almost no empirical research that shows that this practice really does any harm. And a lot of the negativity you'll find comes from people who are saying they wouldn't do it but have never done it. And this is not trying to diminish the idea that, in fact, there is disruption, and the disruption can be hard. It can be hard for all the kids and for the family. But to say that I truly think that some of the negativity about this practice comes, it masks over a concern and a fear about adopting older kids. And without a doubt, older kids often have had life experiences that have harmed them and are difficult. And they do bring baggage with them, but that is not the case that all older children are damaged goods, or the adoption of all older kids is going to be fraught with a great deal of difficulty. And I think it really helps for us to separate the issues associated with adopting an older child from the issues of disrupting the birth order of the family. So for this video, we're going to really be focusing more on the latter, which is the disruption of the family. Now, it makes good sense. We know enough about birth order to know that there is an importance associated with what position you are in the family, and that it makes good sense to say that if we're changing that, it's going to be hard. And we need to pay attention to that, and we need to be aware of it. But it depends how hard it will be, and whether it's too big of a problem depends on so many factors. First of all, the personality of the kids involved, both the kid that is being displaced from his or her position in the family, as well as the new child coming in. It also matters the parents' ability to support all the kids in the family. And the parents' willingness to get help, as the old adage goes about voting in Chicago early and often. And I don't mean any disrespect to you Chicagoans out there. It's just a joke. But we know that families who avail themselves to help early on do better. So that is certainly a factor that we have to consider when we talk about whether this practice should be done. Also, another factor is on the success is whether or not all family members have bought into this adoption. The rule of thumb is to pay particular attention to the child whose position is being displaced, and that is either as the eldest or the youngest. And most concern is towards displacing the eldest in the family. Although I have talked to some families who've said it's the baby of the family who struggles the hardest, so that's something to consider as well. I've not seen research on this, but anecdotally I've heard that it matters less if the eldest child is under the age of 3. I guess they haven't yet owned the power of being number 1 at that point. I've also anecdotally heard that it is easier if the child that is being displaced from its eldest position and the child that is doing the displacing are of different gender. In other words, if your eldest had, prior to the adoption, was a boy, and the child that you adopted was a girl, at least then the eldest, the former eldest, still maintains his position as the eldest son in the family. If you decide to do this, let me offer you some parenting tips that we've gathered from the Been There, Done That crowd. First, and this seems obvious, but yet it really is worth stating again, attempt to treat each of your kids and develop each of your kids as unique individuals. In other words, if you're driving to Taekwondo because one child takes, it doesn't necessarily follow that the other child or other children need to take Taekwondo as well. Talk with your kids beforehand not just to get them to buy in, but also to listen to them and find out what their concerns are, and try to take their concerns into consideration. Also, as a parent, what you want to do is help them understand what it really might mean. Play act through some scenarios and work out some ways of dealing with some of the potential problems that you might find. Plan, if at all possible, on one parent staying home for as long as possible to help the kids adjust. And even though this may cost money, try to get some help, at least in the initial months following the adoption, around the house and around the yard, so that both parents are able to spend more time focusing on the kids and helping them. Assign privileges based on maturity and responsibility, not necessarily on age. It is not uncommon for the new child coming into the family to be less mature than the children already in the family, and privileges need to reflect this. Educate yourself in advance on some of the potential problems associated with adopting children of the age that you're going to be adopting. It never hurts to be forewarned. Also, line up your support system before the children come home or child comes home, so that if you find you need some help as a family, you don't have to then start the process of looking for help. It is not our intent at all to try to talk you into adopting in a sense that would disrupt the birth order of your family. Nor are we trying to diminish the fact that it can and will have some potential issues for your family that you need to be aware of. However, what we do want you to know is that if you decide to do it, it can be done, and it can be done well. And I'd like to refer you also to the page on our website on adopting out of birth order, where we include links to blogs and articles from the been there, done that crowd of families who have already done this and seem to be doing it well. Thanks for joining. Oh, and you can find those resources under Adoption Resources, and it's Adopting Out of Birth Order is the page title. Thanks for joining us today, and I hope it's helped. Bye-bye.